pass. If he had waited for the pass to get to him, Houston would have taken it away.
A start of a season ago, coming off the bench this year. He's had his ups and downs on the season, but last night was a night to remember for Del Orso. Kingston Fleming somehow lays it in.
Fearless, and again, lobbing it up into the basket right over Krivas.
First points of the night for Flemings as expected, Jay. This one is very, very tight.
It is tight and it is physical. Excellent find from Karchenkov to Bradley in the corner for the three, and then Kingston Flemings putting it up high.
Arizona up 2. I'm with their head coach, Tommy Lloyd. Coach, what have you thought of the way that your team has come out in the early minutes?
Well, I think both teams are feeling each other out a little bit. Missed a couple of layups. I'm glad we made a few shots, but, this is going to be a long game. It's going to be a tough battle, and we just got to keep hanging in there and make sure we play good defense and rebound.
Thank you, Coach.
One thing he knows he can count on night in, night out is his senior point guard, the Big 12 Player of the Year, Jaden Bradley.
Well, terrific job by Braden Burries to get 2 on the ball with that penetration to kick it out for the open shot in rhythm. And then any chance you get in transition in the open court, you have to attack the paint. Jaden Bradley did that, and on every pass, Arizona wants to find its spacing. And getting deep into that left corner, that right corner, excuse me, did it for Jaden Bradley. Off to a great start.
Bradley's sitting at the moment, so Braden Burries back in there and operating more as a point guard right now. And wouldn't Tommy Lloyd love to get Burries going again? He is their leading scorer on the season, but had an off night last night, and he has airballed a couple of threes in the early going tonight.
Awfully difficult to get going against this Houston defense because it is so physical.
Krivas surrounded, just keeps going and lays it in.
Beautiful shot fake. Mo Krivas kept his poise in a crowd.
And that's one thing to know. Krivas is 7'2". Tugler plays bigger than he is, but he's given up a lot of height. He is 6'8".
Give up a lot of weight as well.
A missed 3 from the corner by Sharp. And we get a foul on the Cougars. That will be on McCarty, his first. He'll sit. Sinak returns.
When you help off Emmanuel Sharp, you always feel like you're taking a risk. You're going to dig down in the post, then you have to turn around and find him. And with that quick release, by the time you find him and get a hand up, that ball's gone.
Burries had nowhere to go and had to pass it off. Koa Pete got his man in the air and draws the foul.
That subtle shot fake gets Chris Sinak Jr. off the floor, and he took a shot. Koa Pete, he may just be 18, 19 years old, but he has a man's body.
That will be the second on Sinak, who just checked back into the game. And it looks like he's coming right back out as Pete goes to the line. Third team all Big 12 this year for the freshman. Tonight we've got the NBA on ABC, and it's a fun one. The Nuggets and the Lakers at 8:30 Eastern time. Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and Shaq will tip off our coverage at 8 o'clock, and they'll all be back at 11 Eastern to break it all down with today's news and highlights.
The Nuggets are getting healthy with Aaron Gordon back in the lineup. Christian Brown has been playing for a number of games now. He's got his bounce back. They are a threat to win it all.
Arizona now out to a 6-point lead. Boy, Sharp, yeah, he got caught. I think it's going to be on Sharp. He pushed Aristode as he tried to get around him and get free out on the perimeter, and he did it right in front of Kip Kissinger, and that'll be the second on Emmanuel Sharp.
Aristode doing a good job of getting his body in front of Emmanuel Sharp to try to blow up that action.
So Sharp's got 2, Sinak's got 2, Awaka's got 2 on the other side.
You're not getting through this game without getting some fouls hung on you.
So you've got both McCarty and Mercy Miller in off the Houston bench. What a strong drive and finish by Koa Pete, and Kelvin Sampson has seen enough.
That is just strength, barreling down the lane, catching the ball on the run.
A timeout for Sampson. It is a 6-0 run in less than a minute right now for the Wildcats, led by Koa Pete. We're back in 30.
This is the smart trick. You've got to shake it to wake it. Imagine what we could do with this. I'm gonna blast you! Critical damage!
Impressive. Most impressive. Build new LEGO Smart Play sets and the Galaxy Plays back. Sets sold separately.
We welcome you back to T-Mobile Center here in Kansas City, the Big 12 Tournament Championship game. The top seed Arizona, the 2 seed Houston. For people just tuning in, why has Arizona got an 8-point lead, Red?
Well, Arizona's been resolute to get the ball into the paint, and they've gotten 2 on the ball. They've passed out of it very well, and defensively, they've been really good and good on the glass. You know, rebounding is always an issue when you play against this Houston team, any Kelvin Sampson team. But this is an outstanding rebounding Arizona team.
Let me throw you this number, or these numbers about Arizona. In the regular season matchup between these two, Arizona had 38 points in the paint. In the quarterfinal win over UCF, Arizona had 38 points in the paint. In the semifinal win last night, Iowa State, I think you can see where I'm going, 38 points in the paint. And they've got 10 points in the paint to just 2 for Houston here in the early going tonight. When they are on, they don't need to make a lot of threes to beat you. They can dominate near the rim.
And Houston only allows on average 24 points in the paint. So it's the classic something's got to give.
Isn't it always the classic something's got to give? Fleming's doubled, finds Tugler, extra pass. Miller spins it up and in.
Hercy Miller was just hiding behind the defense on the baseline and made a nice cut and a beautiful finish to get it to the other side of the rim.
Again, a few weeks ago, Kelvin Sampson kind of shuffled his bench rotation a little bit. Miller getting more playing time. He's playing well as Aristode gets called for an offensive foul.
Really nice pass. The pocket pass and then playing off 2 feet. That is not an easy position to be in for a lot of big guys, playing out of that short roll situation. But Tugler finds Miller, and that was a beautiful finish on the other side of the rim.
Playing off of 2 feet was a real focal point from Kelvin Sampson at shoot-around today. He said, guys, if you just try to go up there and lay it up over Krivas, he's going to get you. Play off 2 feet, shot fake, make a pass, make a move, make life tough on Krivas. And you know what? They just did. Number 2 on him. So a good job by Tugler. The lead down to 5. Coming up next right here on ESPN tonight, it'll be the championship game from the T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Tournament, Virginia and Duke. They just met a couple of weeks ago. The Blue Devils won by 26, but this is a different Duke team now. No Caleb Foster, no Patrick Gumba in this game. Duke still trying to win a tournament championship. They are a lock for a number 1 seed no matter what happens. But they would love to bring home a title tonight. Virginia trying to spoil that. Burries no. And Tugler tips it to Uzan.
Burries had some time for that shot, but it's hard for him to find rhythm.
So we mentioned 2 on Krivas. He's gone to the bench. Awaka back into the game playing with 2. So Arizona in some jeopardy in the front court right now because of fouls. Awaka will try to do everything he can to avoid picking up his 3rd. Tugler, left hand, and it goes to make it a 2-point game.
That left-handed jump hook hit the heel of the rim. It just deadened it and fell in.
6-0 run, Cougars. Karchenkov the kick.
Arizona able to turn the corner off some of these screens to get into the paint.
Bradley off to a hot start tonight. Spins, draws the contact, and will head to the line.
You can't let Jaden Bradley refuse a ball screen. You have to force him into it.
Arizona and Houston in the championship game here in Kansas City right now. And Houston on a little bit of a run thanks to JoJo Tugler.
Joseph Tugler had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 5 of them offensive, 4 steals, and 2 blocks against BYU. He's one of the best defenders in the country, but showing a little offense.
Trailing by 2. I'm with Kelvin Sampson. Coach, you called that timeout a couple minutes ago. What adjustments did you want to see from your team there?
Well, their size is a factor. It's not necessarily their height, it's their width, their girth. They take up so much space. So we just went with a 2 big lineup, and now we got to get organized offensively.
Thank you, Coach.
Arizona does have a ton of size in the front court, but some of it is sitting on the bench right now. Krivas has 2. He's on the bench. Awaka's got 2. He's in the game. So Arizona's still big, but not quite as big, at least for the time being.
Well, Houston has done a good job of handling when Arizona puts 2 on the ball. If they decide to trap a ball screen, they're playing out of that short roll. And JoJo Tugler has been a good passer out of that short roll. He's got 3 assists. And Houston has 5 assists on their 8 field goals. They have been doing a good job handling that pressure for the most part.
And Bradley into double figures 12 minutes into this game.
The 1-2-1-1 3/4 court pressure. You slow the advance. That's less time you have to guard in the half court.
7 different Cougars have scored, only 4 Wildcats. It is Bradley and Koa Pete kind of dominating things offensively in the early going for Arizona. Uzan. The battle on the glass, won by Bradley and the Cats. Burries, so good in transition, got bumped, and he'll shoot a couple.
Those long strides at the end of that play and able to Euro right around the defense. And one thing that Braden Burries does so well is he's a creative finisher around the basket. He got fouled, didn't have an opportunity there. But he is far more athletic than he gets credit for.
And another player picks up his second. It's Milos Uzan, and you can see the look of dejection on his face as it looks like he might be coming out. Burries knocks down the first. McCarty coming in, and Uzan was looking over. He knew it was him. Well, how about the drama going on in Nashville at the SEC tournament? Vandy blew out Florida today, beat them by 17, and Ole Miss's Cinderella run ends in the semis. They took Arkansas to overtime, but eventually the Hogs win, so it'll be Vandy in Nashville taking on Arkansas in what should be a great final tomorrow. You and I are going to be there.
Well, Darius Acuff Jr. has put the Razorbacks on his back all season long. The SEC Player of the Year as a freshman. And how about Vanderbilt? Now that they're healthy, Duke Miles is back. Vanderbilt is a Final Four threat under Mark Byington.
Tugler, nice spin, and that'll be a goaltending call on Khalifa Sacco. CD Gay, excuse me.
Karchenkov tried to get a steal there, and when he did, he wasn't able to stay in front. I'm not sure you mind goaltending that one. Just let him know you're there.
CD Gay, the freshman from Senegal, in there because of the foul trouble that Arizona's got in the front court. And Bradley does it again.
Just miscommunication on the part of Houston. Sacco and Fleming. Is he going to force him into the screen? Look where Sacco goes. He goes to the same side as Fleming, just opens up a lane to the basket. You have to communicate on exactly what you're doing in ball screen coverage, and Houston didn't do it there and gave a free run to Jaden Bradley. And Bradley finishing with that right hand off the glass. He is having a wonderful first half.
And one of the many really good things about Bradley, there are some nights where it seems he's needed most to just organize the offense, get everybody going, be a facilitator. Some nights they need him as more of a scorer, and Jay, he can kind of fill either role.
He does whatever it takes to win.
Tugler over Gay, again the left hand. JoJo Tugler having a night.
Well, he knew he had a matchup he wanted, but it's how deep he got it that was important.
Not this time for Bradley. Here come the Cougars, led by Flemings. Tugler slipped and grimaced, felt something. Now takes the feed from Flemings, and he's in a lot of traffic. Somehow got out of there. Now Flemings trying to get him organized, taking matters into his own hands. And over the head of Miller and out of bounds. Not the kind of offensive possession you see very often at all from Houston.
Well, you saw Kingston Flemings directing traffic to get a cutter out of that space where he could drive it, but JoJo Tugler was down on the low block. He was just driving into traffic.
Houston's got 3 starters sitting on the bench with 2 fouls. Bradley, no look up to Pete.
They cannot contain him in ball screen situations.
It has been the Jaden Bradley show so far here tonight.
Bradley on the defensive end taking Kingston Flemings.
And how about Tugler getting into a go-to scorers mode, because that's what they need from him right now.
He just went right into the chest of Koa Pete.
The pace pick up here in Kansas City. Pete swings it. A double on Burries. They take it out of his hands.
Houston's doubles have not been as aggressive as they normally are.
Good job by Mercy Miller. He is active on the glass.
And he's a really good wing defender as well. Does whatever it takes out there.
Big minutes for some bench players here for Houston in the first half, although a couple of starters are getting ready to check back in.
Spacing not good on that possession for Houston.
Miller hoists a deep one and knocks down a 3.
Got a switch. Koa Pete didn't get a hand up, and Mercy Miller knocks down a big 3 for Houston. The Cougars needed that one.
Dad Master P in attendance here tonight, seeing his son bring him back within 2.
Got Master P on one side, Mix Master Mike on the other. We're covered.
Ivan Karchenkov, a shot fake and a drive. Good defense by McCarty.
A neck ball. We led the nation in that.
It stays with Arizona. How about Jaden Bradley on this play?
Well, negotiated the pick and roll, got into the lane, and when you help up as Sacco did, you are opening up a lob. Got the switch. Mercy Miller knocks down the 3. That was a big bucket for Houston to stem the tide.
They've made their last 4 shots. They've gotten it back within 2. Good job by some of the bench guys. Sharp and Sinak back into the game now, each with 2 fouls. Tugler has gone to the bench. A lot of space for Karchenkov. The follow goes for Awaka.
Anytime you come over as Sacco did to try to block that shot, that opens up the offensive glass, and Tobe Awaka does not need an opening. He can create his own.
Awaka had 12 and 12 in the quarterfinals, 10 and 10 in the semifinals. Flemings. And a bit of a late whistle, but a foul call will send him to the line.
Flemings got the switch with Del Orso on him, and how about that crossover right in front of Del Orso to get to the rim? What a big-time move by the freshman from San Antonio. Got the switch, right-hand dribble, crossover, and he's gone.
Awaka challenged him, and Tobe Awaka just picked up his 3rd foul.
Kelvin Sampson at halftime, I know, is going to have a lot to say to his team about their ball screen coverages, especially when they're going against Jaden Bradley.
Awaka sits. Krivas has 2. He's on the bench. So Pete is playing the 5. And Ivan Karchenkov is playing a small ball 4, which he can do. And he actually did a lot of against Houston a few weeks ago because Koa Pete didn't play in that game.
Arizona with 33 points. When you talk about Houston, it seems like an offensive explosion. They only give up 63 a game. That's third in the nation, tops in the Big 12.
Uzan back in. And Senat sits. And now everybody trying to match up. Both teams have kind of unusual combinations in there right now. And everybody's trying to make sure they know who they're supposed to cover. Peak to the elbow. Wide open shot. And he left it short. Inside 4 minutes to go in the first half in a 2-point game. And Flemings followed up his miss and ties the game.
Beautiful hesitation move and terrific second jump.
Flemings, one of the best freshmen in the country, one of the best point guards in the country. As Pete is fouled at the other end. We are all tied up. 3:36 to go in the first half of the championship game. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team.
The hero of the semifinal game against Iowa State, making big plays down the stretch in clutch time, and he's been clutch this entire first half. Catch and shoot situations, taking advantage of miscommunication and ball screen coverage by Houston. Bradley, the Big 12 Player of the Year. He seems to make whatever play the situation calls for. And he plays with such great maturity and poise, even when facing a physical Houston defense.
Bradley off to an outstanding start. Chris Budden was near the Houston huddle. Chris.
Kelvin Sampson with some words of encouragement for his team. He's like, we got our legs under us. We're good. They're in trouble. But you guys got to play smart. You got to play disciplined. You got to do the things that I've taught you to do. Stop bailing them out on plays by fouling. Force them to finish shots.
Chris, thank you. Koa Pete at the line, trying to break the tie. Pete's 9th point of the game already. He's got 4 rebounds. 3 of them, Jay, have come at the offensive end.
Well, he has played strong from the opening tap. And to Chris Budden's point, I mean, Houston's scoring on their end. I mean, they're shooting 54% as long as they don't turn it over. They're getting some good things on the offensive end.
Both teams playing with somewhat smaller lineups right now. In Arizona's case, it's because of foul trouble. Flemings penetrates. Good job by Pete to slow him down.
Just a clear out. They overloaded the left side.
Uzan. The tip, no. Miller runs it down, but he's out of bounds.
And Miller plays so hard. Kept that ball alive, coming from the left side to the right to try to get that offensive rebound.
A rematch of the championship game of this tournament a year ago. Houston to beat Arizona. This is Houston's 3rd year in the league. Arizona's 2nd year in the league. Arizona winning the regular season title by 2 games this year over the Cougars. Bradley double. Burries into Pete. The double. The reset. Shot clock at 3. Burries the cut, and he lays it in. Miller tried to take a charge, but no whistle.
Really smart cut right down the lane from just outside the 3-point line by Braden Burries,
who has his first field goal, as you can see, since the quarterfinal game against UCF. Marchenkov brings it over. Marchenkov the lob. Pete the catch. Burries the 3. Got it.
What great inside-outside interaction. Marchenkov didn't hesitate to throw that ball over the top to Pete, and he looked immediately to the 3-point line. That's great ball movement.
Big shot for Burries, and Koa Pete having a big night. That's his 2nd assist to go with 11 points and 4 rebounds.
You play against Houston, you want to move the ball and put them into chase mode.
How about Pete staying in front of Flemings? Koa Pete getting it done at both ends. Shot clock running down. Miller with a strong finish.
Beautiful left-hand drive as the shot clock was going down. situational awareness by Mercy Miller.
With Emmanuel Sharp picking up a couple of fouls, Mercy Miller's getting a lot of minutes in the first half and playing well.
And give Kelvin Sampson credit. He's developed this depth over the course of the season.
A minute and 14 away from the Sargento halftime report. An update on UConn and St. John's. How about that game between Arkansas and Ole Miss? Reese, Jay Will, and Coach will tell you all about it on the Sargento halftime report.
You do know their names. Impressive.
Thank you for writing them down for me. I might forget them by the next time. It's always touch and go.
Good pass.
Burry's wide open. He hits it. All of a sudden, Braden Burries, knocks down a couple of threes. A guy who can light it up. Their leading scorer on the season. Back-to-back trays for the Cats.
And Braden Burries did it with movement. He relocated from the top down to the corner, made himself available.
He's got their last 8. As McCarty is fouled, going for a rebound on the weak side.
I know Kelvin Sampson's not going to be happy with his defense giving up the middle, giving up the paint. But part of what made that play was Braden Burries relocating to the corner. Smart cut to get the layup off the pass from Koa Pete. And then Koa Pete returning the favor, or duplicating the favor and kicking it out for a catch-and-shoot 3 up top. Boy, when you have a shooter like Braden Burries, who's also a smart cutter, that makes you really difficult to guard.
Burries, one of 5 finalists this year for the Jerry West Award as the most outstanding shooting guard in college basketball. 1 of 2 for Miller.
Opportunity if you want for a 2-for-1, but I think Arizona just wants to get a good shot here.
Bradley looking back towards his bench, seeing if they've got any specific instructions. Still looking back.
They're making a play call.
Burries has to avoid Tugler. Tough shot in some traffic, and all of a sudden he is feeling it.
He got bumped, but that bump came from the Koa Pete screen of Mercy Miller, just screened him right into him.
He's got Arizona's last 10 points. And they've got an 8-point lead. But Braden Burries did not make a field goal in the semifinal game last night. Just had an off night. Started very slowly tonight with a couple of air balls on 3-point attempts. And then all of a sudden, Jay, after a couple of free throws, it's like he flipped the switch, and now he's back to looking like himself.
Yeah, he has found his rhythm, made that last one. That one dribble pull-up, getting hit by Mercy Miller, but I think the reason the officials didn't call it was Koa Pete laid a screen on Miller and actually screened him right in to Braden Burries.
Their last 4 field goals, 2 2s, 2 3s. Houston ball with the shot clock turned off here in the closing seconds of the half.
You got to think that Emmanuel Sharp was inserted into this lineup to get a 3.
The tip, wave it off. It's going to be basket interference on the Cougars. Kelvin Sampson does not like that call one bit. And Arizona's got a little bit of time here, almost 3 seconds, as Del Orso checks back in.
And Kelvin Sampson was asking for a foul. I don't know if they're going to take a replay here, but he felt like Fleming's got fouled when he went up.
Perhaps challenging the basket interference call. I think Tommy Lloyd is asking for an explanation of exactly what was it that Kelvin Sampson wanted right now. And it does look like Marcus Pettigrew and Kip Kissinger, Doug Sermons as well.
The previous play has been challenged by Houston.
So Kelvin Sampson is
basket interference,
challenging the basket interference call. If they overrule it and this is successful, it'll be a basket. Ooh. I don't know how you judge these. These are tough. Do you think it came out of the cylinder?
Well, it was out of the cylinder, but if it's over any part of the cylinder, I think that's still up there. I think that's going to be upheld.
A great effort by Tugler, but was the ball still over the cylinder to any extent?
Now he can take it from outside the cylinder and put it in over, obviously, but I think this is going to be upheld. That looks like it's part of the ball is still over the front of the rim.
And because the call was basket interference, you need clear and convincing evidence to overturn it, and I don't know that they have that.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Hard to tell from that angle.
After review, the play has been deemed an unsuccessful challenge. Houston, number 11, had his hand over the ball when the ball was over the cylinder. Houston is out of challenges for the rest of the game.
So an unsuccessful challenge. The call stands. It is basket interference. So no basket. They can't challenge anymore. They lose a timeout as well. And Arizona gets the ball back, and they put a little time back on the clock as well. Del Orso gets it off and cannot hit as the first half comes to a close. Arizona with Braden Burries getting hot at the end. Jaden Bradley having a great first half. Koa Pete as well. They're up by 8. Chris is with Tommy Lloyd.
Braden Burries finding some success there on the offensive end. How have you guys been able to do it against such an aggressive defense?
Well, I mean, on the offensive end, we got in the bonus. That helped, and then Burries knocked down a couple of threes. You know, they're a really good defensive team, so anytime you can make an open shot, I feel it's quite a relief.
What do you guys need defensively in the final 20 to come away with a championship?
To me, they kind of went to their ISO game there a little bit, so we got to do a better job individually guarding some of their tendencies of playing clean without fouling. And if they miss a shot, we got to find a way to get a rebound.
Thank you, Coach.
The championship game here with the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City, and the top seed Arizona with Burries getting hot late in the first half with an 8-point lead on the 2 seed, the Houston Cougars. We got a good one going on here. It is time now for the Sargento halftime report, and you know what that means. Reese. Big 12 men's basketball championship. Kingston Flemings, 17 in the quarters, 21 in the semis, 6 so far tonight. Arizona has been able to contain the outstanding guard for the Cougars. Braden Burries did not start off hot, but boy, did he finish hot. 2 2s, 2 3s, and Arizona's last 10 points of the half. The Wildcats lead by 8. Welcome back, Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. I did not have both teams shooting 50% in the half against each other on my bingo card tonight.
Nor did I, with the physicality and the outstanding defense of these two teams. I think the difference is that Arizona was able to get to the free throw line more often, and Arizona did not turn the ball over. Houston wasn't able to force turnovers to get anything in transition.
Let's take a look now at our experts at work, brought to you by Principal.
Well, Arizona had 3 players that had excellent first half, starting with Koa Pete. When he's got a guard on him trying to block out, he just overpowered Milos Uzan. Gets up with that left hand, tips it in. He had 3 offensive rebounds, and then a miscommunication in ball screen coverage. Jaden Bradley able to get downhill. He had 13 points in that half, and then getting it to the middle of the lane. And watch Braden Burries relocate to the right corner for that catch and shoot 3. Burries got off to a tough start with 2 air balls, but he bounced back in a big way.
3 in double figures for the Wildcats, accounting for 36 of their 44. Bradley, Burries, Pete. Joseph Tugler leading Houston with 10. Again, Flemings only 6. Emmanuel Sharp had some foul trouble. He only had 5 in the first half. Let's check in with Chris Butler.
Kelvin Sampson told me he thought some of this inexperience showed. Mercy Miller ball watching when Braden Burries hit that 3, and then allowing Jaden Bradley too many easy runs into the basket. He said, listen, Arizona's good, but we have to get better at doing some of our core defensive principles.
Chris, thank you. Almost all the time, Jay, as you well know, when you do a Houston game or watch a Houston game, it's being played the way Houston wants it played. But it feels like that's a pretty good battle between these two. Arizona's still getting a lot of the things that they like to do here tonight.
Well, both of these teams like to dictate to the other. And Houston dictates with their defense and with their physicality.
And we are waiting on one of the officials. Doug Sermons telling us an equipment malfunction, and he pointed to the whistle that he has around his neck. So I think we have a malfunctioning whistle for Marcus Pettigrew, who's the official that we don't see on the floor right now. Doug Sermons says he'll be right out, and here he comes.
Can't the alternate official give up his?
We are ready to go. with Arizona up by 8 as the second half begins here in the championship game of the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City.
I think Houston has to do whatever it can to get Kingston Flemings going. He only had 6 shot attempts in that first half. Arizona did a good job of getting the ball out of his hands.
Sharp gets an early look here in the second half. Can't hit it. And it is out of bounds to Arizona.
I thought that went off Krivas.
Remember, Houston rather does not have a challenge anymore, so they can't challenge any kind of an out-of-bounds play. And I think, maybe the hand
behind his head.
Yeah, looked like it rolled off his back. Arizona still has its challenge. Houston does not. Karchenkov, nicely done.
Just that screen from Koa Pete got him going downhill. Another ball screen coverage not handled as well as you expect from Houston. There's the short roll again.
First points of the night for Karchenkov, who averages 10. And Arizona now leads by 10.
Take a look at that screen. Chris Sinak Jr. has to be up there to help contain that, up to touch.
The foul on Koa Pete, just his first. Remember, Tobe Awaka picked up 3 in the first half, and Mo Krivas picked up 2. Each of them only played about 7 minutes in that first half, and still Arizona leads. Flemings no. Karchenkov ahead to Burries. Takes a bump, can't finish. Bradley tries to run it down, but it's out of bounds to the Cougars, and Flemings slow to get up at the other end.
He was down for an extended period, holding his ankle.
And we can see from the motion there from Doug Sermons, him saying to Flemings, you're kicking your leg out on the shot. And you could see he did there with the right leg. So Sermons didn't call it on him, but said you got to stop doing that. Tugler into Krivas, got it back, and Pete got it.
What a recovery by Koa Pete. You think you have an opening and it closes down. You got to get past Krivas, and then Pete comes over.
Karchenkov. And knocked out of bounds. Still Arizona ball and plenty of time on the shot clock.
Karchenkov fortunate he didn't get a walk called on him when he came to that 2-footed jump stop and then pivoted again.
Jay, this Arizona team was 13th in the AP poll in the week before the season began, as Pete lays it in, but they were in the top 5 every single week of play during the season, including 9 consecutive weeks as they started 23-0, and they are playing at that level right now in this game.
No team has been any more consistent from the start of the year till now than Arizona.
Bradley made the player of the year in the Big 12. I think of all the other great players in the Big 12 this year. Bradley gets that award, and Bradley has been great tonight. Arizona with its largest lead of the game right now. Sinak draws a foul on Pete. That'll be his second. Chris.
He drew a foul, and he drew the irritation of Kelvin Sampson during that last timeout, talking about there's a lack of sense of urgency. He was telling him, like, you get one more possession. If I don't like it, you're coming out.
And Kelvin Sampson, he can be tough on his players. They love him. You know, if you're going to Houston, you're going to get coached hard. But Sinak is a freshman, Jay, just loaded with ability. We saw it last night, really, in the first half. He was the best player on the floor in the first half of their win last night against Kansas.
We had 10 points and 7 rebounds against BYU, went 5 of 6 from the field, and then turned around, had 17 points and 14 rebounds against Kansas. He was outstanding.
Just missed a couple of free throws, though, so it is still a 12-point game. Krivas. And Bradley may be shaken up after that collision with Emmanuel Sharp.
Holding that left wrist.
And this is a concern tonight and beyond, obviously, for Arizona. Hopefully this is something minor. Bradley walking over towards Tommy Lloyd. And he is going to come out of the game. holding the left wrist. The whistle did blow, so it is the third on Emmanuel Sharp, but Jaden Bradley has come out of the game and has walked into the tunnel and toward the locker room. If we get an update, we will let you know. Koa Pete draws a foul, and now Pete appears to be shaken up.
Boy, there are bodies colliding on every possession, whether it's a screen or a drive.
Maybe the left leg for Koa Pete, but boy, every Arizona fan here in the building and watching at home has to be awfully concerned seeing Jaden Bradley head to the locker room holding that wrist.
With Bradley out, that's going to give ball handling responsibilities to the freshman from San Bernardino, California, Braden Burries.
That foul on Chris Sinak, his third. He's out, and Khalifa Sacco is into the game for the Cougars.
And given what happened in the first half, I think you're going to see Arizona put Sacco into ball screen situations and see if he can process those.
13-point lead. Flemings. And Sacco may not have been looking in time to know that pass was coming.
A difficult pass to expect Sacco to catch and then make a move.
It looked like Flemings had that elbow jumper, which he is so good at. He keeps it alive, and then he loses it to Burries. And now it's going to be a held ball. It'll stay at this end of the floor with Arizona. Sacco and Burries still kind of in a scrum for that basketball.
There's nothing in the rule book that says you have to let go, and Braden Burries wouldn't let go. Just trying to send a message. Both of them are. It's just a question where the official spots the ball, what yard line.
They're almost in field goal range. So it is Arizona ball. Milos Uzan just went to the bench. Mercy Miller, who was really good off the bench. No, forgive me. It is Chase McCarty who has come to the bench. With Uzan going to the bench. Here's a drive by Burries, blocked by Tugler. There's a foul. I don't think it's on Tugler. And now Burries is down.
Refusing that ball screen, just getting his shoulders past Kingston Flemings. I'm not sure I saw a whole lot of contact there.
Flemings is the guy who got called for the foul, his second.
There were a lot of bodies, but not much contact. Certainly not contact representative of the contact we've seen throughout the game.
Even as compared to the first half, the second half has been incredibly physical. Not a lot of pace to it. There have been some fouls and free throws. Houston has yet to score a point here in the second half.
And this is where Arizona can separate from teams, is at the free throw line. They make more free throws than their opponents attempt on the season.
Biggest lead of the game now by 15, and it's been a long time since Arizona lost a game when they had a lead of this size. Sacco back out to Sharp. Can they get him loose for some threes? McCarty will hit one.
The ball reversal made the play. Karchenkov was in the lane, had to recover out to McCarty, but the ball moved faster.
McCarty, a guy who made 6 threes in a game against Oklahoma State 1 week ago in their regular season finale. Into Pete, who's had a terrific night. Left hand up and good.
Gave a look to the high-low, the dump down, and then pivoted and went right down the left-hand lane line. That strength of Koa Pete is just so impressive.
Flemings into Sacco, helped by Krivas. Tugler swings it, and it's thrown behind McCarty and out of bounds. And Arizona with a 14-point lead. Koa Pete having himself a night, scoring, rebounding, dishing, defending, doing a little bit of everything for the Wildcats right now. They're up 14. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team. Well, on the scoreboard, things are going very well for Arizona right now, but the biggest story really is the fact that Jaden Bradley has left the game with what appears to be a left wrist injury. Here he comes. This is live right now out of the tunnel, and the Arizona fans see it. They are getting on their feet behind the bench. You can see he's got that left wrist wrapped right now, but hopefully, Jay, I mean, obviously he's in some discomfort. We could see that, but hopefully the fact that he is back out on the bench means that it is nothing too serious.
Certainly hope so. He's so valuable, not only to college basketball, but to this Arizona team.
And we have seen so many good players on so many great teams already sidelined with injuries. Chris, do you have more?
And while Jaden Bradley was back in the locker room, they did x-ray that left wrist and hand. X-rays came back negative, and he's good to go.
Appreciate it, Chris. And every fan of the Arizona Wildcats watching around the country on TV just said, whew, because he is the leader of this team. Again, the Big 12 Player of the Year, and it's not necessarily because of gaudy numbers, but he is what makes them operate at their highest level.
Arizona's done a terrific job in this game of cutting off of pressure. And that was an outstanding cut by Koa Pete to make himself available when there were two defenders on the ball.
1 of 2 for Pete, a 15-point lead. Where can Houston find some offense? They've got 3 points in 4.5 minutes in the second half.
Well, they haven't generated any offense off their defense, which is unusual.
I'll tell you what, if Flemings keeps kicking it to an open McCarty, that'll help.
Well, when you help off the ball side corner, that oftentimes opens up catch-and-shoot threes, and Karchenkov helped in on the drive and then couldn't recover in time.
Their 6 points here in the second half are on a pair of threes from Chase McCarty. Karchenkov will try one and hit it.
When you give up a three, just go on the other end and get it back. Hit it over McCarty.
Arizona doesn't shoot many threes, but they've been good at them tonight. 5 for 10. Sacco looking for space, too strong off the glass. Flemings puts it up. And a foul on the weak side. The rebounding situation, and again, Flemings and Doug Sermons having another conversation as he rises up for a shot. Maybe the leg gets out there, and look at this, Jay. Jaden Bradley back in the game.
Great to see. Such an outstanding first half by Jaden Bradley, and your point earlier was exactly right. Like, he's the leader of this Arizona team.
So he wound up missing just about 3 minutes. The way he went into the locker room, sure didn't think he'd come back out that quickly.
A good switch by Arizona to pick up Emmanuel Sharp off that cut on out of bounds underneath.
And you can see Tugler did not want to go at Krivas, just giving up too much size. Can Flemings or Sharp get going? Tugler will go at him here. Had a little bit of a shoulder around him, and that's enough for him to lay it in. And Tugler is their leading scorer tonight.
Well, he's operated effectively out of that short roll situation when Krivas goes on the ball.
Krivas gets the bounce on the jump hook.
He's got a really nice touch, both right hand and left hand, and that little push shot that he has in the lane is really effective.
His second field goal of the night. Another member of the Big 12's first team. They put 10 players on that team. Krivas among them. Sharp trying to shake Burries. Tough step back. Off the rim and down to Krivas, who wraps it up.
Big time rebound with 2 hands.
Here's Bradley crossing over and knocked away by Sacco. Now Flemings. Good decision.
Excellent defense by Mo Krivas in transition. He just shut down the lane and wouldn't let Kingston Flemings get to the basket.
The Arizona defensive efficiency numbers much better when Krivas is on the court. Tugler can't hit this one.
Krivas does such a good job of staying in front and making you take a difficult shot over him. He may not block it, but he has certainly affected it.
Bradley and Burries in the backcourt. Krivas the screen. Now rolls to the basket. Karchenkov's hit one. Not this time. Awaka with a rebound. And that hit Awaka while part of him was out of bounds, so it's Houston ball. Dwayne Aristote is going to check in for the Wildcats. It'll be Karchenkov coming out. Del Orso coming in as well. Flemings will sit for Houston. McCarty goes out. Miller and Uzan back in.
Milos Uzan needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end. He can generate some buckets on the offensive end. He needs to start looking for his offense.
Well, how about the three guards? Flemings, Sharp, and Uzan. They average about 43 points per game between them. Tonight, they've got 13.
Well, the help side defense, and especially the big guys stepping up in screening situations, has been really effective for Arizona.
Some room for Sharp. A big shot for the Cougars.
Del Orso tried to run him off the three-point line, but it was just a sidestep into that three.
Down to a dozen, almost 8 minutes into the second half here in the championship game in the Big 12. Bradley has to give it up to Awaka. Del Orso with 5 on the shot clock. Baseline jumper. And it bounced over Aristo to Sanak.
I think Aristo got a little push. A good help by Jaden Bradley.
Tugler. Sanak, a 15-footer, no, and Bradley the rebound. Houston beat Arizona in this game last year. Arizona trying to win the championship this year. As Bradley lost the handle, got tied up, and the possession arrow will give it to the Cougars. 59-47 Arizona, second half here in Kansas City. With 6 straight wins, won the regular season championship by 2 games over Houston in the Big 12. 4 of the 5 starters were either first, second, or third team All Big 12. Tobe Awaka, 6th man of the year. Tommy Lloyd has himself a powerhouse.
Well, he's intentionally built a great program at Arizona and took over for Sean Miller, who did an outstanding job with the Wildcat program. You think back to Arizona being guard U. Lute Olson left Iowa in the 1983-84 season to take over at Arizona, and really that Steve Kerr, Sean Elliott team got the program started, and Arizona hasn't looked back since. Just a great basketball program.
And what both of these coaches have done with their programs, now both of them in the Big 12, where they weren't a few years ago, has made this league even stronger. And this year, certainly in terms of Final Four contenders, the strongest league in the country. Sanak with a bucket. He hadn't scored since about 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah, really nice shot fake.
And Tobe Awaka just picked up number 4.
That was more of a trip. It looked like he got him up top, but looked more like he tripped Emmanuel Sharp trying to set that screen.
And he got tangled up. The foul on Awaka, who has really been limited tonight in terms of minutes played because of the foul trouble.
And those are the cheap ones you don't want to pick up.
So Pete and Krivas in the game up front. Pete's got 3, Krivas has 2.
Arizona's been very smart in handling these guards. They get 2 on the ball, and then if JoJo Tugler has to make a shot, it's a tough 2.
Tugler leads him with a dozen, couldn't hit there, tipped into the backcourt, and Sharp brings it over. Fleming's on the bench right now. Miller out there for the backcourt with Uzan and Sharp. Tugler tries again and one.
Beautiful pocket pass by Milos Uzan to JoJo Tugler, who used the left hand off the glass through contact. That was a fabulous looking play. You got 2 on the ball, and as Krivas was retreating, just hit him with that pocket pass right on the numbers to give him the angle on Krivas to get the and one.
He has been great tonight, taking on all comers, and there are so many big bodies in the front court for Arizona. The foul on Krivas, his 3rd. But with Awaka on the bench with 4, Pete and Krivas are both in the game with 3, with better than 10 minutes to go.
But this defense has been by design by Arizona. Make Tugler a playmaker. It's only a 2. And then that way you're not giving up threes to guys like Kingston Flemings or Emmanuel Sharp.
Tugler leads them with 14. Nobody else has more than 8. Sharp whips a pass to Miller in the corner. And Koa Pete just picked up his 4th.
Didn't have the angle, left the floor, and winds up fouling Mercy Miller as he's trying to drive the baseline.
Tommy Lloyd has himself a situation right now. Awaka's got 4, Pete's got 4. So Koa Pete's going to the bench. Del Orso's back in, and that pushes Karchenkov up to the 4 spot, which he can and has done at times this season.
Just makes you a little bit smaller. Rebounding's going to be an issue.
Boy, how this game has changed in the last 3 minutes. Houston on a 7-0 run, and the Wildcats have some foul issues. Uzan driving, floater, and one.
I think he's the guy that needs to start taking over. He's got game off the dribble. He can shoot it. Milos Uzan had a fabulous season last year. He transferred in from Oklahoma. He's a facilitator. He can play on or off the ball, and he can be surgical in pick and roll situations, as he was right there.
His first basket since about 3 minutes into the game, and all of a sudden it is a 10-0 run for Houston.
Arizona had been playing with a cushion. Now that cushion is reduced, and some game pressure on the Wildcats.
With 2 key players on the bench with 4 fouls. They do have Bradley back in the game, but Sanak knocks it off the leg of Bradley out of bounds.
Bradley was holding the ball in his hip trying to direct traffic, and Sanak with that left hand just knocked it away and off his leg.
And Tommy Lloyd opts to use a timeout. Boy, if you went to the fridge to make a sandwich and just came back from a few minutes ago, Jay, this is a whole different ball game right now.
You make your own sandwiches?
I take it you don't. A 10-0 run at the same time as they have gotten a couple of important players on Arizona into foul trouble. How have they done it?
Well, they've done it by not giving up, but a great shot fake, and then another great shot fake. Emmanuel Sharp with the side step got the 3, and then the beautiful pocket pass for Milos Uzan. And Uzan with the great crossover to get into the lane, drew the contact, and completed the play.
He is great at that driving floater from about 7-8 feet out. 10-0 run in the last 3-10 for Houston, trying to repeat as Big 12 tournament champions.
This is where those early morning workouts on the Versa Climber, all the adversity that Kelvin Sampson creates in a Houston practice or a workout, is for these type of situations. Kelvin Sampson wants to know who he can trust when it's tough.
Sanak misses the 3. And we've got a Houston foul as Krivas is down. Mercy Miller is getting the foul, and Krivas looks like he took a shot to the face.
It looked like it was head to face contact when Mercy Miller was chasing after that ball.
Krivas being helped up. Shoulder, yeah. Ooh. So the foul on Miller. Arizona with the ball in a 5-point lead. They've missed their last 5 field goal attempts. Del Orso's got 4 tonight, had 26 in the semis against Iowa State a night ago. Deep one. Well off and out of bounds back to Houston.
Boy, Emmanuel Sharp did such a good job there of not allowing Jaden Bradley to turn down that screen. He forced him back into bodies.
The resolve has to be building by the possession for the Cougars right now. Sharp a miss from 3. Krivas another rebound.
He is just a mountain in the middle of the lane.
7'2", 260. Karchenkov one-on-one with Sinak. Off travel.
There's nowhere to go. Sinak took away the angle to get to the rim and angled him toward the sideline.
And this is where Arizona's smaller.
You would think that would show up on the glass, but now you're getting guard-to-guard ball screens.
10-0 run Houston. Arizona's got foul trouble and they've gone cold. Miller driving, dumps it off, laid in by Tugler.
Uzan and Miller are operating in a tandem out front. They're able to get downhill, and if you help, they just drop it off.
Kingston Flemings is on the bench. He's not having his best night. He hasn't been in there in a while, but Uzan and Miller, as you say, are both playing high-level basketball right now.
Well, Miller's strong. He's got such great energy on the floor.
Bradley surrounded. Lost it.
Boy, this is Houston basketball right now. Swarming the ball.
A 12-0 run. Will it continue? Tugler to Miller. Miller the drive. Miller the layup. And it's a one-point game.
Houston is just punching the paint, getting angles and getting downhill and putting so much pressure on this Arizona defense, and there's only one big guy in there to protect the rim, that being Krivas.
Awaka and Pete each on the bench with 4.
How about the fight of this Houston team?
Burries. Krivas swatted away by Sinak. Burries a little shake and bake inside to snap the 14-0 run.
Really good screen out top by Krivas.
It is game on here in the Big 12 championship game. 2 outstanding teams playing for a title.
Well, getting downhill, that forces Krivas to come over, and that opens up the drop-off to Joseph Tugler. And then getting downhill with the right hand, Mercy Miller. Chris Sinak, not in my house.
The country. Now back to 1 versus 2 for the Big 12.
What a night. Zubin, Kevin, Tom, thank you very much. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Chris Budden, Arizona by 3, but it's Houston on a 14-2 run. They get 14-3 as Burries completes the 3-point play. Emmanuel Sharp picked up that foul. It's his 4th. Mo Krivas is on the bench for Arizona. Awaka's back in for Arizona with 4. And Kingston Flemings is back in for the first time in a long time for Houston. What a rebound by Tugler. Flemings hits. Big bucket for the Cougars. Flemings a guy who can take over a game at any given moment.
Houston is getting into the paint. One of the reasons Arizona not as big without Koa Pete on the floor.
They have not had 2 bigs in the game together, which is how they normally play for a long time because of the foul trouble tonight.
Chris Sinak Jr. really moving his feet to stay in front of Karchenkov.
Burries can't get by Flemings. Karchenkov banks home a 3. Are you kidding me?
That's when you know it's your night. That was more of a throw than a shot, and Sinak put great pressure on it.
Boy, after Houston has really been dominating things for several minutes, Karchenkov banks one in, all of his 8 in the second half. Tugler has been outstanding tonight. He's got 18.
He has been a short roll wizard.
Tugler's got 18. Mercy Miller is their second highest scorer at 10. Karchenkov stumbling a little bit, and he still laid it in.
Chris Sinak just dropped that right foot and opened up the gate, and Karchenkov took advantage of it.
The pace picking up in the second half. 5 minutes to go. Uzan gets free. And Karchenkov down with a rebound for the Cats.
Boy, what a tough physical rebound going against Chris Sinak Jr.
Bradley not in a hurry as he walks it into the front court. Playing with some discomfort in that left wrist. And Karchenkov is fouled by Sinak.
Karchenkov just taking Chris Sinak Jr. out on the perimeter, then driving him. But this getting a little late in the clock. Just launching that three off the glass. And this is a beautiful drive, but you drop that right leg and open up the gate. Karchenkov's going to take advantage of that.
Karchenkov very quiet in the first half, great in the second half. Number 4 on Sinak. So let's see if he comes out after this first free throw. You would imagine. McCarty is getting ready to check in. Karchenkov adds to his totals, and it is Sinak coming out as we go to Chris.
In that last time out, Kelvin Sampson wrote a message on his whiteboard and held it up. It said 10 straight stops. He reminded his guys, we are in this game because we are playing our style of ball. Let's continue to do that. I like the shot selection on the offensive end. Let's remember to keep driving to the rim.
Chris, thank you. As you said a few minutes ago, Jay, something to the effect of this is Houston basketball. Now, Arizona seems to have stemmed the tide a little bit. It is back to 7. But there's still a lot of time left. Tugler to Miller. McCarty the shot fake. The long 2 is well short.
That was a good shot fake, just not a good shot.
And Burries isn't going to rush it as we near the final 4 minutes. You can hear the Arizona fans, but you'll hear the Houston fans after that block by Tugler, who is having a sensational game for the Cougars, trying to keep them in it. Arizona's lead is 7. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. 12, they're playing for a banner. They're playing for a championship. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Chris Budden as well. Jay, whoever wins it will have earned it here tonight.
No question, and you're going to earn it from the foul line. And that's really been the difference in this game. Right now, Arizona is plus 11 from the foul line, with a chance to increase that as we go down the stretch. Arizona makes a living at the foul line. They make more on the season than their opponents attempt.
Remember that 14-0 run that Houston was on? That got them within 1. But Arizona's got it back up to 7. Jaden Bradley left the game briefly with a left wrist injury. He's back in there, but he hasn't scored in the second half. Joseph Tugler has a career high 18, and he's done a lot more than just score the ball. A 15-point lead got down to 1. Now it's back to 7 with just under 4 minutes to go.
And you have to think that Arizona with Koa Pete back in the game is going to look to go inside.
They go to Pete right away, and he converts.
Just gave him an isolation on the left side and cleared out on that out of bounds underneath.
This is the first time in a long time Tommy Lloyd's had 2 bigs in the game together. Krivas and Pete are in there.
And there's an example of their effectiveness. Kingston Fleming's driving down the right side, and he runs right into Koa Pete and Mo Krivas. That's a lot of man you're trying to score over.
Pete has it taken away by Sharp. 1-on-1 with Bradley, and a foul, and 2 free throws coming for Sharp.
Houston was not able to turn Arizona over in the first half. I believe they only had 2 turnovers, the Wildcats did. In the second half, a much more aggressive defense for Houston. And the rare, at least in this game, run out that leads to a couple of free throws. And boy, Emmanuel Sharp earned those. It's a heck of a tackle.
Sharp's first trip to the line tonight. And you're looking at the #1 free throw shooter in the Big 12 during the regular season at 89%.
Got an unusual release on that shot, but he repeats it.
Into double figures. The deficit is 7. Bradley off the ball. Burries brings it up. Karchenkov has been big for Arizona here in the second half.
Well done by Kingston Flemings to stay in front on that right-hand drive.
Sadak slows down Bradley. Shot clock at 7. Burries. He's going to have to put a shot up. And he banks it home. Their second bank shot in the second half.
Yeah, the backboard has been kind to Arizona. First it was Karchenkov, and then Burries.
Karchenkov's was a 3.
John Wooden would be proud.
So it's a 9-point game, 2.5 to go. Tugler follows it up a second time. He's got 20. That's a career high.
When you go to block a shot, somebody's got to crack down. Otherwise, it's offensive rebounding for Joseph Tugler. And that second jump is impressive. How quick did he get off the floor?
Houston beating Arizona in this championship game a year ago. Arizona trying to get back at him here this year, and they are 2 minutes away, but here comes Flemings.
Have to have a score here.
Sharp can't hit the 3, and a rebound for Krivas.
Arizona doesn't have to be in a hurry right now.
And Bradley knows it. 1:40 to go. Shot clock at 15. Sadak pressuring him. Bradley off to Pete, and Sharp just fouled out of the game.
Just a late decision cut by Koa Pete. He is an excellent cutter, and when he cuts with force.
So Emmanuel Sharp fouls out with 10 points here tonight. A couple of threes.
Koa Pete, as soon as that trap hits, he cuts down the lane line and runs right in to Emmanuel Sharp, and now that takes out the best three-point weapon that Houston has.
Mercy Miller's in. Also, Chase McCarty came in for Chris Sanak. And it's Koa Pete at the line. Jay, that's his 20th point of the game.
And you have to think, Dan, if he makes this, that Arizona's going to come with a little token full court pressure just to slow the advance a bit and not let Houston get a run up.
Family looking on. What an outstanding year the freshman has had. The youngest of 7, all of them D1 athletes.
Arizona just runs back in the half court. But Houston needs to run some offense with pace here.
Flemings off the rim to Karchenkov. Bradley gets over, picks up his dribble, finds Pete, and Pete is fouled.
A little surprised that Jaden Bradley picked up that ball just past the half-court line, because that invites a trap, but he was able to throw out of it, and then Pete gets fouled, so he goes back to the free throw line.
Boy, give these Wildcats a lot of credit. That was some kind of 14-0 run Houston was on. All the momentum was in their favor. The Wildcats had foul trouble, but somehow, Jay, they turned this game back around in their favor. Misses the front end. Flemings. And a 3 from Miller will go, and it's down to 6 with 1:04 to go.
Mercy Miller is having himself a game, and that all came from the penetration by Flemings to get into the middle of the lane, collapse the defense, and Miller was ready to fire as soon as it hit his hands. Really nice job by Kingston Flemings of getting into the lane. And just about all 5 Wildcats were either in or hugging the lane. But Mercy Miller was prepared to fire that as soon as he caught it.
Miller's got 13 points in 20 minutes off the bench. She's had 2 higher scoring games this year, but they were both against lesser competition in non-conference play. He's a big reason why Houston is still within striking distance with just over a minute to go. Meanwhile, Champ Week continues. Next, it's on to Charlotte. And the championship game in the T. Rowe Price ACC tournament. The top seed Duke shorthanded because of injuries to Caleb Foster, Patrick Gumba, but they do have Cameron Boozer, the front runner for the National Player of the Year, as they take on the 2 seed Virginia.
No player has been as consistent at the highest level this year than Cameron Boozer. I mean, his worst game was 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, and that was against Niagara in a game where he only played 20 minutes.
Because they had such a big lead. Braden Burries and Arizona up 6 with 1:04 to go.
Houston needs to make something happen here, forcing a turnover. They're going to face guard full court pressure with JoJo Tugler on the ball, and if Ivan Karchenkov can run the baseline, but Tugler can cover that.
Karchenkov lofts it up for Bradley, and he's going to try to finish it. Can't do it. Back comes Flemings. Uzan hit it, and it's a 3-point game.
Honestly, not really sure why Jaden Bradley decided to take that all the way.
A 1-possession game now with 50 seconds to go. And a timeout for Arizona.
That might have been one that Jaden Bradley would have preferred to catch it, get it across half, and burn clock, make Houston foul you. It was difficult to get the ball in, but Jaden Bradley goes long. But why not pull this one back out and run some clock? Instead, the challenge shot is missed, and in transition, a great sidestep 3 by Milos Uzan. But there is no quit in this Houston team. No quit at all.
That is Uzan's first 3 of the night, and he made a great play to get himself open. He knew they needed a quick score, and a 3 was a whole lot better than 2. And now the Wildcats have to be feeling a little bit of game pressure, just about executing it.
A lot of game pressure. Job number 1 is get the ball inbounds cleanly. But you don't have to foul if you're Houston. You can play this out, and a rebound is going to be a big part of this. Grabbing a big defensive rebound is going to be huge.
Remember, Houston is without Emmanuel Sharp now. He has fouled out of the game, so they're relying on some other players, but Mercy Miller making big play after big play. And I thought Chase McCarty did an outstanding job contesting that layup attempt by Bradley without committing a foul.
Without fouling. That's exactly right.
JoJo Tugler's been a monster tonight. 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. It's a 6-0 run for Houston over the last 17 seconds to get back within 3. Houston is out of timeouts. Arizona's got 1. Arizona's got the arrow.
No rejects. No rejects.
Arizona's got the ball. Arizona's got the lead. But it feels a lot different than it did just moments ago.
And Kelvin Sampson sticking with the quicker lineup. Chris Sinek Jr. not in the lineup.
They play this out, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Kelvin Sampson going to trust his defense.
Bradley to Karchenkov, a big second half for him. Tipped away and out of bounds. Still Arizona ball with 5 on the shot clock.
If you get in trouble, Arizona still has a timeout.
Burries to inbound. To Pete. Pete from the baseline. No! Privas the rebound. And he gets fouled.
We had talked about it. Grabbing a big defensive rebound was the key. You get a stop. The first shot defense was excellent to force a difficult two by Koa Pete as the shot clock was going down. But Mo Krivas grabs an offensive rebound that could be the difference in a championship and not.
It is the first trip to the line tonight for Krivas. It's 2 shots. He's a 78% free throw shooter on the season.
Even if he makes this one, you don't have to have it. Just get the ball down court and get it to the basket. If the defense collapses and then you get a 3, that's great. But you don't have to force up a challenge 3.
2 huge free throws for Krivas. Awaka is coming in. Krivas is coming out.
And the free throw line, Dan, has been the difference.
21 for 25 versus 8 for 12. Into Flemings. As Jay said, they need a quick score. Flemings can't get it to go in. Miller can't. Follow no. Bodies flying. As McCarty had a look at it as well. We have an Arizona foul and free throws coming for the Cougars. And it's Koa Pete who has fouled out of the game.
And even though Houston is going to the foul line here, a lot of time went off the clock to even get that foul after the miss by Flemings and the scramble for the rebound.
What a game Pete had tonight.
It's hard to believe he's a freshman.
Tommy Loiche was able to navigate the foul trouble for Pete, and Awaka keeps shifting guys in and out, sliding Karchenkov up to 4 here and there. And he got a lot of mileage out of the guys who had the foul trouble. Yeah, a lot of people biting their nails over this one. 13.1 to go. McCarty at the line for 2.
Excellent free throw shooter.
Arizona does have 1 timeout remaining. Made them both 3-point game. Del Orso in. Another ball handler, another shooter. Awaka to the bench.
A lot of that substitution about ball handling, but also about free throw shooting.
Karchenkov to inbound. Tugler on the ball. And they will use the timeout called just in the nick of time before a potential 5-second call.
Jaden Bradley was trying to go long again, but Kingston Flemings had a handful of his jersey.
So both teams are out of timeouts with 13.2 to go. Well, it wouldn't shock you one bit if these 2 teams met in early April, would it?
Not at all. These are both Final Four caliber teams. How happy will these 2 teams be to play somebody other than a Big 12 opponent?
I was just thinking that. Arizona is a lock for a 1 seed. You would think no matter what happens tonight, Joe Lunardi's got Houston on the 2 line right now. But what these 2 coaches, these 2 programs are thinking about is a championship here tonight. If Houston can't get a quick turnover, then they got a foul. Karchenkov again to inbound. And again, Tugler on the ball.
And not easy to get a clean look.
Del Orso, it's deflected out of bounds as a couple of seconds come off the clock.
Boy, the length of JoJo Tugler and how active he is. Now this is a spot throw-in. So Karchenkov cannot move.
And they don't have any more timeouts. They've got to get the ball in. Burries comes to get it. Strong with the ball, waits for the foul, and he will shoot 2. What a physical battle this has been between the top two seeds here in the Big 12. Burries is a 79% free throw shooter on the season and a perfect 5 for 5 tonight. Two huge shots for the freshman.
You make one of these, it's a two-possession game, and that makes it incredibly difficult.
Braden Burries' dad looking on, along with thousands of Arizona fans. Got them both. Nice water. Deflected. Deflected again. Out of bounds. Houston ball, but down to 1.9 in a 5-point game. And Wildcats fans can feel it now. That will do it. The regular season champs are the tournament champs here in Kansas City. They avenge a defeat to Houston in this game from a year ago as the Arizona Wildcats continue this sensational season, now 32-2 as they win the Big 12 tournament here tonight at T-Mobile.
An outstanding effort at both ends of the floor. And Koa Pete, although fouling out, 21 points. A lot of different heroes for the Arizona Wildcats. A certain one seed in the NCAA tournament. Now they can turn their sights on winning a national championship after establishing themselves as the undisputed Big 12 champs. They don't have to qualify it. They're Big 12 champs. They've won them both.
Bradley had a good game. Burries a good game. Karchenkov a good game. And Koa Pete, who did foul out late, outstanding tonight for the Wildcats. 21 points, 6 rebounds, and a couple of assists. A great team effort. Houston fought hard. Arizona did just enough to hold them off. Time now for our player of the game, brought to you by Phillips 66. He's Koa Pete, and he's with Chris Butler.
Koa, congratulations, Big 12 regular season and tournament champions. You had such a big day despite the foul trouble. How were you able to do it against this aggressive defense?
Just my teammates, they put me in great spots to score, and I'm just doing whatever the team needs me to do to win, and I'm just proud of the guys, man. We worked for this, and we deserve this.
You came up big today. It was Jaden Bradley yesterday. What is it about the DNA of this team? Houston goes on that 14-0 run. You guys never panic.
No, it's the next guy up mentality. It's not going to be my night every night. It's not going to be Brandon's night every night. It's not going to be JB's night every night. It's someone different every night. And Brandon had a good night too, so he needs to be talked about as well.
Congratulations, Brandon, as well. Before I let you go, I know there's still big plans for you ahead in March and early April. But as a freshman, to be on this team, to be able to celebrate some hardware, what does this feel like?
It's amazing, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. All glory to God.
Congratulations, guys.
A great effort by the Wildcats tonight, and a great season continues as they win the Big 12 tournament. Look at the joy on the face of Tommy Lloyd. By the way, Jaden Bradley named the most outstanding player of the tournament, just like he was in the league during the regular season. Burries had 21. Pete had 21. They fought hard and held off a very determined Houston Cougars team to win the title. Let's go to Charlotte now with Dickie B and Corey.